All right, today we're gonna yap about conspiracy theories. What is a conspiracy theory? First of all, let's dissect this word, okay? Because this word carries a negative connotation with it, right? Where people who are seen as conspiracy theorists, they're seen as nut jobs. Like they're crazy for thinking about it. They're crazy for thinking that people could be corrupt in power, you know? And granted, there are crazy people out there that believe the world is flat. Like that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I can't get behind that. Obviously, we live in a cube, okay? You see the two extremes, the round earthers and the flat earthers. The truth is in the middle, man. We live in a box and you gotta think outside of it. Before we dive into this topic, we have to make some clear boundaries. Let's understand the definition of these words. All right, so to conspire means to secretly plan with others to do something harmful, illegal, or against someone's wishes. And look at the example that they give. They already paint a picture that people who go against the government are the ones that can conspire, right? But people in power, in the positions of power in the government, they don't conspire. The example is they were accused of conspiring to overthrow the government. The plan is called a conspiracy, and the people involved are called conspirators, okay? Remember this. And now the definition of conspiracy theorists: a person who believes that some secret but influential organization is responsible for a particular event or phenomenon. It is no conspiracy that people in positions of power can become corrupt. Is that not a thing that happens in history, right? Look at the Roman rulers. Look at what Marcus Aurelius' son did right after he died. Like, when Marcus Aurelius' son Antoninus, I think that's his name, or Lucius, yeah, his son Lucius came into power, what happened? He abused the power. Not only that, there's plenty of people who lack a character development to understand the plight of people, understand the struggles of people for them to use their power efficiently. Some people abuse the power. Is that not the case with life? Like there's things that happen like that. So that's not a conspiracy theory, right? But if you were to question the people in power, it then becomes a conspiracy theory. If you start the investigation of like, okay, well, let's look into what this person is doing behind the scenes, now it's a conspiracy theory. Now you're a conspiracy theorist for looking too deep. There was an interesting saying going around that the CIA made or invented the word conspiracy theory to discredit people who question the government. And that sounds correct. It sounds like what a person in power would do to gaslight anybody that's investigating them too much, right? But I've done my research, okay? I don't just buy into anything as soon as I hear it. I did my research. The word conspiracy theory was used long before the CIA was ever a thing, okay? It was used long before the JFK assassinations. So, yeah, it was always in use. But, that still doesn't discredit the original claim that people use words to gaslight another from further investigation. Right? That can be done to bully people from the truth. Now remember that definition of conspire: to plan with others to do something illegal, harmful, or against someone's wishes. Now remember the pandemic? I don't even know how YouTube works anymore, because back when I was making videos on the pandemic, right? Like I think I gotta censor myself, right? Because YouTube is going to censor the whole video if I don't. So back when I would and I'm a first responder in the state of New York City. So I saw when the first patient, this first person, remember it broke news that this guy who was like a Uber driver, he came to New York and that was the first outbreak of I was the ambulance crew that drove him to the hospital. We had PPE, all of that. And it was like, we were treating him like he had MRSA, or, you know, it's anytime a patient has a contagion, we always wear PPE. We always wear these extra protective things like a gown. We get the masks, we get the goggles, we get the gloves, always wear gloves, BSI. The hospital that I dropped him off to, it wasn't really a up to par hospital. It was like can't really disclose the information. It's the only hospital in Rockaway. That's all I would say about it. But it's not. It's like one of those hospitals where anybody can just walk in. Like they're not really tight on security, you know. So it was inevitable that that was gonna spread like crazy down there. It was inevitable. And when they shut down the streets, when they shut down the world, it was a ghost town everywhere. Remember that? No one was in the roads, no one was on the streets, no one was anywhere. It was just all ghost town. Everything was shut down. And I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it. I'm not going to hold you. It was peaceful, man. No traffic. Because I was an essential worker, I had the road all to myself, man. It was all mine. But there was a lot of eerie things that was going on during the thing, right? Let's just call it the thing. Okay? That yeah, it sounds like that movie, right? Like, yeah, let's give it that mystery factor. The thing. During the thing, there was a lot of crazy things that happened, right? Where the hospitals were filled to the brim. They were filled to the point where hospital gurneys were lined up outside the hospital. Like, that was the first time I've ever seen that the hospital beds are in the ambulance bay with patients on it. And when you went inside the hospital, it was like just a sea of beds and sick people coughing. And I'm like, damn, man, this really looks like the end of the world. And we even broke a lot of rules that were initial in the first place. Like one of the rules was with this N94 mask, right? It's those masks that look like a duck. Like, it gives you a duck lip, right? The rule was that it's a one-time use. You only use it one time and you throw it away. In the thing, right, when the thing was happening, they told us that we had to reuse it because they were running low on supplies and there's not a lot in the world going around or something, so we have to reuse the masks. But then I'm like, doesn't that defeat the purpose of the mask? It's just gonna get dirty and gunky. My sweat is going into it, like all types of bacteria is going. Why reuse it? It was even taboo before the thing happened to reuse it. It's like reusing a condom. Like, it's gross. Like, throw it away. But those were top-down commands from the NIH, the National Institution for Health, that, you know, they give the orders, they give the protocols to the health workers to follow. And that institution was being directed by the chief medical advisor, which at the time was Dr. Anthony Fauci. This man is an interesting man because he is a master. He is a master of darkness, okay? His specialty is gaslight 1000, okay? That's his specialty, is to gaslight. Now, the reason I say this is because I pay attention to the commands that are sent to me to follow. I don't just blindly follow orders. I try to understand the psychology of the person who's sending those orders. Is it out of good intent or is it out of malicious intent? Right? You can't be a blind follower.
Any dissent surrounding 19 treatments, mask mandates, and any public policy surrounding it was immediately labeled as anti-science. I watched as public health officials and politicians told my patients what treatment options were best for them, regardless of their comorbidities or their medical history. Despite my education and my training and my experience, my opinions were relegated to conspiracy and misinformation by so-called healthcare experts who had never treated a patient throughout the entire pandemic. The American people deserve to make medical decisions through conversations with their physicians rather than politically motivated mandates. Dr. Fauci, did you ever treat a patient for COVID during the pandemic?
I was part of a team that was at the NIH that took care. We didn't take care of many of them.
Okay, so not hands-on. Got it. Why would the government, who's never treated a patient for, you can read all the things you want, but you're not there. You're not seeing patients. You're not watching people die, intubating patients right there with that disease in your face, watching it happen, watching the development of this disease and actually learning from it. But I'm being told by bureaucrats what's right and wrong.
And this is why I strongly dislike bureaucrats or bureaucracy.
They're not robots, Rick! It's a figure of speech, Morty. They're bureaucrats. I don't respect them.
Basically, somebody who has a position of power in some government thing or some organization that you can gain help from, but they put the procedure or the policies of the organization before the needs of the people. So they're like, well, it's just the way how we do things here. I could give a damn about your feelings and what you're going through, and I could give a damn about that, man. Listen, I got a reputation to uphold.
And what's funny is everything I was censored on, I was proven to be right. Pretty crazy, isn't it? You said in an interview that you gave as part of an audiobook written by Michael Spector that you believed an institutional should make it hard for people to live their lives so they'd feel pressured to get vaccinated. Could we run the audio clip on that, please?
You think can be done about it. I have to say that I don't see a big solution other than some sort of mandatory vaccination. I know federal officials don't like to use that term.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you are going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit and they get vaccinated.
Are all objections to vaccinations ideological bullshit, Dr. Fauci?
No, they're not, and
Thank
that's
you.
not what I was referring to.
Well,
Yes, the gaslight is commencing. I see his jutsus being deployed. He's doing the fucking hand signs, bro. He's deploying the gaslight jutsu. Nah, man, I got the shotgun. I can see past the foolishness, bro. It's over. And I want you guys to remember, please have a memory. Don't be a goldfish and just forget about all the trauma that we've been through. Bro, remember, these people were relentless. They were telling you you're a bad person if you don't get this in your system. If you don't get you're a bad person. You need to go and get it, or else you're spreading it, or else you're contaminating and you're creating the variants. And it's like, how are we on the 5th booster when we just got the vax put out there, right? Like, why? How are we on the boosters? You're saying that it's effective, but at the same time, you're telling people to re-up. Now, when it comes to me, I never took the shot. I never took that. They were trying to mandate it, but it was illegal. They couldn't mandate it. Like, they try to pass it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court rejected it. They rejected it. They were like, yo, this is violating human rights. Yeah, we're not going to do this. But the way how the media was around that time, they made it seem like everybody was in agreement with this thing. And they had like a deadline, like, oh, on January something, all essential workers who don't have they're going to be let go because they're not able to work anymore because they don't have which makes no sense, because the whole time before they were working fine without it. Right? Like, I caught the thing, right? I caught that like 3 different times, right? The first time it was like, oh man, that took me out. I'm not gonna hold you. Second time it was a cakewalk. Third time I didn't even know I had it. And after all of that foolishness, they had a shortage of staff now. Now they don't have enough people to take care of the sick people in the hospital because you're trying to force them out of the jobs for not making a personal decision with their health. That is so stupid. The very essential workers that they were calling heroes, you know, when they shut down everything, they were like, oh, those are the heroes. Yeah, man, the essential work. And then they just like slap them in the face like, all right, now you have to do as you're told.
This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you.
One of the founding fathers of America, Benjamin Franklin, once said, those who give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety because they're cowards. Well, he didn't say that last part, but I did, because if somebody is so quick to move in fear that they're willing to give up their freedoms so that someone can protect them, that the very person that's telling you about the danger can protect you, sounds like extortion. Now that we're in the hindsight of the event, looking back at the whole thing that happened, right? Would you say that the people who were in authority were justified to mandate, to force or impose their remedies onto people? being that we now see the efficacies of wasn't upholding the way how they said it was, right? Like, you had, as soon as you got that first one, you had to get a second one. And you had to get a third one. They even had a card for it. The company I was working for, they strongly suggested us to take but it was never mandated. So I could refuse it. I could be like, no, I'm not doing that. And they were like, all right, just show up to work for tomorrow. They didn't care, bro. They didn't care. But I did keep it on the hush. I wasn't telling my patients that I was unvaccinated. Like, I wasn't telling it because they had this false sense of security that, oh, everybody should be vaccinated, because, you know, they were just watching the news and being brainwashed by the people that's telling them what's wrong from right. So they're feeling like if people around me are vaccinated, that means I'm protected. So I can't tell them that I'm not vaccinated, bro. I can't tell them that. I'm like, yeah, you're right, yeah, whatever. But even the vaccine people were spreading it. They were spreading, because then another doctor, right? I forgot his name. I think it was the person who came out with the mRNA It was Dr. Robert Malone. He was on a board of people. It was like a group of them that were researching the mRNA vaccine, right? And this is new technology. This is new, right? This is a new type of vaccine that they're developing for humans to use. And even he said, wait, no, this is we shouldn't be just putting this out there. Then they besmirched his name, of course. You know, when you talk against authority, they besmirch your name. So if you search up his name, it's just going to come up with, oh, he's misinformation, he's anti-science, he's anti this and that, so don't believe in him. And let's not even get into the origins of this thing, right? Remember how they said, oh, it's just a Wuhan, China lab, like, you know, it's just in this area of Wuhan, China. I don't even think I could say that word either, bro. Like, they're going to censor that. I think this whole video is about to get taken down, so F it, man. We just gonna have fun with it. The Bat Kitchen Soup Lab in Wuhan, China, that was conveniently right next to a stage 3 biochemical lab that works on novel viruses. What? Like, rewind that part. Wait. There's a biochemical lab out in Wuhan, China, that is close to the proximity of which they said that the outbreak started. And this lab, what they do is they put viruses in a petri dish. Let me get you a petri dish. Matter of fact, let me show you what a petri dish is. This is a petri dish. I've been growing shrooms. Like, I'm a myocard. What's it? Not a myocard. Mycologist. Yeah, I'm a mycologist because I like growing shrooms. So I grow them on this petri dish. I splice them up, genetically make them stronger, have bigger mushrooms. You know, you can work on the genetics on the petri dish. So what they do on and this one is dirty. I just kept this for like, I don't know, I should toss it. But what they do with the petri dish is that they genetically modify CV19 viruses to be contagious to humans. Mind you, they're taking a virus out of animals that only affects animals, and they're genetically modifying it so that it affects humans. And they call this research gain of function research. Their justification for doing this is that they want to get ahead of the virus, and they want to develop a cure for it, so that in case it does naturally transition over from bat to human, that they already have a vaccine ready if that were to be the case, so that they can avoid a pandemic. But that sounds so stupid, because what if a lab leak happened, right? Who's to say that didn't happen?
You continue to support NIH money going to Wuhan. You continue to say you trust the Chinese scientist. You appear to have learned nothing from this pandemic. Will you today finally take some responsibility for funding gain of research in Wuhan?
Senator, with all due respect, I disagree with so many of the things that you've said. First of all, gain of function is a very nebulous term. We have spent, not us, but outside bodies, a considerable amount of effort to give a more precise definition to the type of research that is of concern that might lead to a dangerous situation. You are aware of that. That is called P3CO.
We're aware that you deleted gain of function from the NIH website.
You see how he deployed his gaslight jutsu? He said, gaslight jutsu, 1,000 years of confusion. Like, he's trying to redefine the words. He's trying to take it like, oh yes, the gain of function research that you guys know about, it's not like that. That's something else. And he's changing definitions and he's causing all this different wording. When Ron DeSantis, the guy who's questioning him, he's simply asking, what were you guys doing in Wuhan, China? What is the NIH funding in Wuhan, China? And his first answer is to talk about the wording. Like, oh yeah, the wording is not right. And Ron DeSantis clapped back and he said, yeah, you're changing the definition of these words. You're in a position of power in which you shape the narrative that you're a part of.
But let's get back to the operating framework and guide rails of which we operate under.
That's that bureaucracy, man. Bureaucracy. This is the bureaucrat we're dealing with. He don't give a damn about the people.
The guidelines are very, very clear that you have to be dealing with a pathogen that clearly is shown and very likely to be highly transmissible in an uncontrollable way in humans and to have a high degree of morbidity and mortality, and that you do experiments to enhance that, hence the word EPPP, enhanced pathogens of
So when
potential
EcoHealth
pandemic.
Alliance took the virus,
well, can I would love to finish.
SHC014, and combined it with WIV1 and caused a recombinant virus that doesn't exist in nature, and it made mice sicker, mice that had humanized cells, you're saying that that's not gain-of-function research?
According to the framework and guidelines.
So what you're
of
doing is
P3
defining away gain-of-function.
No.
You're simply saying it doesn't exist because you changed the definition on the NIH website.
All right, that's enough for this video. I just wanted to share that with you guys. This video is most probably, definitely gonna get taken down or something, right? I don't know. Maybe it's gonna stay up and it's gonna have that little, you know, context thing underneath the bottom of the video, or maybe it's just gonna be down. I don't care, bro. But if you watch this long, thank you. I appreciate you. And let me know what you think about this down below. Am I just a conspiracy theorist? Am I just crazy for questioning the science?
They get up and really aim their bullets at Tony Fauci. Well, people could recognize there's a person there, there's a face, there's a voice you can recognize, you see him on television. So it's easy to criticize, but they're really criticizing science because I represent science.
In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you're under arrest, Chancellor.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?
The Senate will decide your fate.
I am the Senate.